Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today I'm going to be reviewing Trap. So Trap is the newest film from M. Night Shyamalan, and as many people know, he has kind of a mixed filmography, but he's had a little bit of a renaissance over the past few years, so I was pretty excited to check this out. I thought I had some really solid trailers. So we'll be going into some spoilers in this review, so if you don't want to know anything about it, I would definitely click off now. I will say right off the bat, as an M. Night Shyamalan film, there's not really a huge twist in this one, which I think does work for the story it's telling, but having M. Night Shyamalan kind of be the master of the twist, I was really hoping there was going to be something more clever by the end of this film. I did honestly feel that you pretty much get what you're expecting from this movie. What you see in the trailer is really what you're getting, and some people may really enjoy that, and I do think there's some really fun elements to this movie, and it can be really enjoyable if you take it for what it is. In this movie, we see Josh Hartnett playing a man named Cooper, who's at a concert with his daughter. He's taking her to see Lady Raven, who's basically this world's version of almost like Taylor Swift. She's this super viral, super famous singer, and all these girls are going crazy to go see her. And he's kind of being like the dad of the year, getting his daughter into this concert. And very quickly on in the film, you start to realize that he has a secret, and it's the same secret that you saw from the trailer, and that's that he is a serial killer. He's called the Butcher, and the police and the FBI and SWAT have surrounded the arena, trying to trap him in there. And I think the first 45 minutes, hour of this film plays out like a really intriguing and clever cat and mouse game. I really enjoyed the way that he's playing this mask on, mask off character. Josh Hartnett really makes this movie work. I think without his performance, this would be a much lesser film. He does a really good job of playing two very different characters. In one moment, he's this very happy-go-lucky, almost goofy kind of guy who always smiling and making silly dad jokes. And then one minute, the switch flips and he becomes this dark, menacing monster that lurks in the shadows, doing the most disturbing things. And one of the things that this film did that I wish it would have dove a little bit more into is dive into the psyche of this character. We get a glimpse into what has made him this way. It's obviously his relationship with his mother really creates who he is as a person and his kind of distinct weird capabilities that he has. I do wish there was maybe a little bit more cleverness to the script when it comes to his character, and I will say some of the dialogue and some of the overall script writing in this movie isn't the strongest in the world. As we know from M. Night Shyamalan, he can craft a really interesting concept and a really interesting story, but once in a while some of the better dialogue feels like it's left on the cutting room floor, and we get these very basic and almost kind of wooden deliveries of lines, particularly from some of the side characters in the story. I think Josh Hartnett as a whole does a really good job because he is awkward at times, but it's awkward with a purpose. Like he's trying to play a different person than what's hiding beneath him. But some of the other characters, it is just a little bit silly and it can be slightly jarring at times. That being said, I think the nature of the writing at times can create almost a comedic effect. This movie almost feels like it's very close to running the line up to just being a straight up comedy. There's some really silly moments, but they're underscored by the darkness that you know from the character. So I think the blend works well, and I did enjoy kind of that lighthearted comedic tone to it. It creates this off-putting and unsettling nature to it, particularly, like I said, in the first half of the film. Talika Shyamalan plays Lady Raven in this film, and she's actually the daughter of M. Night Shyamalan. And it's funny because in the film, M. Night Shyamalan, I believe, plays her uncle. You know, he has to have his little cameos in his movies. And I don't think she did a horrible job. It definitely felt like a film that's trying to showcase maybe her music career more than maybe her acting career. But I don't think the script gave her a lot to work with, and it does come off much more of a parody of a character than an actual character. And that, again, it has to come down to the script writing. Like I said, it's very basic. It can seem a little clunky and a little on the nose at times. I think what M. Night Shyamalan did in this movie is create a really interesting concept. Like I said, that first hour and a half feels really tight. It's really, working on the tension. It's working on that cat and mouse game. It's fun. It's interesting. It's a weird take on a character that is, like I said, doing that mask on, mask off emotional thing. But then when it slowly devolves into almost like just a basic police story, it really started to lose me by the last third of this film, and it really gets fully off the rails with the events that are happening. You really have to suspend your belief with what's happening. There's just some strange things where Josh Hartnett has the ability to just do anything and everything to escape people. And, to some degree, I know it's for entertainment, but it does feel almost funny at times. Like I could hear other people in the audience like audibly laughing at some of the events that were happening. And maybe it's on purpose because, like I said, it has like a weird comedic slant to it, but it didn't feel as off-putting and comedic as a film like Split maybe did, where James McAvoy, you're slowly realizing how wild he is as a character and kind of supernatural elements are seeping into the storyline. This felt like almost it was getting to that supernatural level with the ability of our character and being able to escape and just do crazy things very quickly to get away from the police. There's just so many twists and turns at the end with him escaping that it feels so unbelievable by the end and so ridiculous that I feel like it, at least for me, it lost me. I feel like a lot of the momentum and tension kind of ended with him leaving the arena and the way that he did that. So it felt like almost two separate films, kind of that cat and mouse game in the beginning to kind of this wild journey that we have at the last 45 minutes. I thought the setting of it taking place in an arena and having kind of this enclosed space was really well done as far as the cinematography and the way they actually shot the film and kind of the multiple moving parts, how he's moving around the arena. And then once he's out of the arena, how he's moving around kind of the outside world. I think it was shot pretty well. And I think the biggest drawback for me, like I said, was the dialogue and the overall story and how quickly it unravels from this very tense movie into kind of this wild escapade by the end. It almost felt like by the end of the story, they're trying to wrap up any loose ends that they could so quickly that it feels like some of them maybe get left a little unresolved. I don't think there's anything too egregious by the end of the film, and I'm not going to nitpick something with all these twists and turns like that, but it did feel like they maybe could have resolved things a little bit better, or like I said, been a little more tighter and clever in the way they delivered it. And the film, at being under 2 hours long, I did feel the pacing of having almost two separate events taking place in this film made it feel like it was a little longer than it was. You have this kind of natural build and climax and escape in the first part in the arena, and then another, build up and escape, build up and escape, build up and escape over it throughout the last part of the film, that it makes it feel just a little bit longer. So overall, I don't think it was the worst M. Night Shyamalan movie. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I do really enjoy it. I know that people like to knock on him because he had some really bad movies there in the middle stretch of his career, but I think he's really turned it around and found an interesting niche of creating these unique little small stories, and I would love to see what he's going to do next. I think he has done some great work. I'm always going to check out his movies. I think he can create some just incredible concepts. They may not be executed to the perfect degree every time, but it's always something new and original, and I can always appreciate original filmmaking. So if you end up checking out Trap, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. Did you enjoy it? I always love to hear people's opinions, whether you hated it or loved it. Like I said, this is a movie where if you can just fully embrace what it is and embrace the wackiness that is the last part of the film, I think you can have a lot of fun with it. I think if you start to dive into it a little bit and try to focus a little too much on the fine details of what's happening and maybe some of the lines in the script, it can fall apart for you like a lot of some of the films that M. Night Shyamalan has put out. I always want to hear people's opinions. And how does it rank for your M. Night Shyamalan films? Like, what are your top three? What are your bottom three? And where does this one fall? So leave those comments down below. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. See you guys next time.